Hello, my friends. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. My name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. I wanted to reach out to you and say hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that's actually really cool. It's really important to me. It is the rose, the thorn, and the orange. So what does that mean? Okay, so the rose, a rose has thorns. We know that. And you can't get a rose without a thorn. There's always going to be those thorns. There's always going to be, no matter, I think there's certain kinds of roses you can get, but still, nonetheless, there's going to be those thorns with the rose. I wish we could go and pick and choose, but nonetheless, we're stuck with thorns when we get the rose. So very much like life. There's going to be the happiness side of things, and there's going to be the unhappiness. There's going to be the fun parts about everything, and then there's going to be other parts about everything. So when it comes to being able to deal with that, I can't choose to only experience just the good. I can't just experience only just the rose, because I'm going to get those thorns. Every rose has its thorns, just like that song. I can't remember what it is. But there's going to be those challenges no matter what. And I can't just selectively choose to only have one experience. It's like living with blinders on, or like the rose-colored glasses. I'm not going to get much done. I'm not going to perceive a very supportive, positive world if I'm only ever focusing on just the rose. There's going to be those thorns that come with the rose. So I can't change my experience when it comes to roses and thorns. That's going to happen no matter how I feel about the rose, or how I feel about the positive and the negative. These things are going to take place regardless of my perception of them. You know, in my addiction, in the heat of things, I only ever had two emotions. I only ever had two experiences. Either things were really, really good, or things were really, really bad. There was no in between. And there's 50,000 million emotions in between those two, really good and really bad. And so as much as I would want to go and say I was living a good life with only two emotions, I was very restricted in those two emotions. I didn't get much done in those two emotions. When you reduce your life, when I reduced my life down to those two emotions, I was very hypertensive. I was always 0 to 60. And if things were really good, things went bad. And if things were really bad, things went bad. I would always want to go and celebrate. I'd want to go look for an excuse. And I never really accomplished all that much. I never had this life of fulfillment that I was after. So when it comes to good and bad, when it comes to roses and thorns, it's going to come with the hits and misses. You're going to have to roll with the punches. So in my addiction, I couldn't separate the two because it only bucketed in those two emotions. And so I can't change my experience. But what I can change, and what I have the ability to do doing, is changing the emotion that I attach to those experiences. I can help label those emotions. I can help appreciate those experiences and allow myself to grow through them. So if I choose to live in the world of only two dimensions, I'm only ever going to experience two-dimensional feelings and emotions. I heard this thing once, and it was about, I think it was Deepak Chopra, and he was saying, if you take an orange and you take a hammer and you smash the orange, what comes out of the orange is orange juice. And if you take an orange and you take a knife and you slice it, what comes out is orange juice. And if you take a book and you squish it, what comes out is orange juice. So it doesn't really matter what instrument you're using. It's the same orange juice that comes out. And it doesn't matter if the temperature outside is 20 degrees or 2 degrees. The environment around the orange doesn't change the conditions of what comes out of the orange. It doesn't matter what instrument you use. It doesn't matter the conditions around it. It's going to be, again, the same orange juice that comes out. So when someone squeezes you, when someone puts pressure on you, and what comes out is negativity, frustration, resentment, it's going to be the same orange juice that comes out that you've let in. So if I'm only ever living my life in the two-dimensional world, and if I'm only perceiving the world in that two-dimensional state, I'm only ever going to let out what I've chosen to let in. And so I can't change the environment and the world around me. But what I can change is my perception of that. I can attach a new meaning. And I'm not just saying put on the rose-colored glasses and you'll get through it. I'm not about white-knuckling your way through. It's not about just saying be positive. I mean, you can be positive that you're broke, but that doesn't change anything. You're going to have to be realistic. I had to become realistic. I had to allow myself to recognize that my addiction wasn't helping me. It wasn't serving me. My two emotions weren't helping me, and it wasn't serving me. And so when I let go of alcohol, when I let go of the other drugs, I was able to expand my world to a third dimension and appreciate a much more broader experience. You know, when you remove those negativity, those things that pull you down, I left a lot of room that allowed me to grow. And so while I don't have control what can happen, what I can do is change the meaning that I show up with and the meaning that I appreciate and the lessons I can walk away with. And there's always struggles in that growth period when you first introduce new emotion, new feeling, because I have to struggle my way through it as I learn to map those feelings and those emotions into 50,000 more experiences. Okay, so when it comes to the rose and the thorn, I can't change those experiences. Just like the orange, I can't change what's inside. But what I can choose is what I allow, what I let in. And if I want what I let in, if I want it to be something different, then I'm going to need to go and look at the world differently. And I can't perceive the world differently if I'm only limiting my view. And if I'm still holding on to the things that are limiting my view, then I'm not going to allow myself to grow outside of it. So very much like the rose, you can't get a rose without its thorns. And what comes out of an orange is going to be orange juice. So those two emotions are not going to be serving me. I'm going to need something bigger. I'm going to need to challenge myself to grow beyond that. Okay, this is where the program comes in from the 12 steps. This is where having a higher power, a support group, support of friends and family. These are all positive and engaging things. Those are all things that have helped me through the steps, and I'm very much appreciative. And that leads me into, in every episode, in every show, we're going over gratitude of the day, and we're also going to go and pull out an action of the day. Okay, so when it comes to being thankful, I'm thankful that I'm given the opportunity to grow, and I'm thankful for the ability that I can give. But what I am always struggling with, and this is my honesty moment here, is dealing with my emotions and dealing with life, dealing with those thorns with the rose. It doesn't get any easier. I didn't find any mystical key. There was no magical syrup I could drink or something that's going to suddenly make me stronger. But what happened is by going through and challenging myself to go through those emotions, by going and being brave enough to go into those, what I would consider like the dark, when in my addiction, I would shine light on the things I was really, really good at. And I became really good at shining the light on things I was good at. But what I wasn't good at, I was careful in not shining the light on those areas. And the outcome of that is, it's not that it's bad to not shine the light, but it is bad to never be willing to go into that darker area without going and braving the elements, without going into the shadows and doing that shadow work, by making it not so dark, by getting in all that clutter, and by removing all of that angst, anxiousness, the animosity, the frustration, resentment. If you remove those from the dark areas, they don't take up that space anymore. But if you're not willing to go into the dark spaces, if I'm not willing to challenge myself to go in and remove that, if I keep my side of the street clean, that allows me to have the capacity to then appreciate more than just two emotions. And so my gratitude of the day, it's being thankful that I'm here and I have the ability to grow. I have the opportunity where I can go into those dark places and then don't go do the shadow work, for lack of a better word. Doing that allows me to remain curious, because I don't get to change the things that happen. And so what I can do is I can be curious, so that when things do happen that I can't control, when things do happen that are outside of my ability, that I can remain curious and I can say, what else can this mean? Maybe this means that I need to grow in a new way. Maybe this means I need to challenge myself into a higher standard. Maybe this means I need to put more safety precautions in place to help buffer myself. Maybe this means I become too attached. There's a million things that can happen, but if I'm not curious about what else this could mean, then I'm only ever going to limit myself to just that two perception view. That's not what I want. That's not what if I'm only ever focused on the thorn, I'm never really going to get anything else but orange juice out of my orange. So I want to have something more. I want to have a much more broader, outstanding life, but I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm limiting myself. Okay, so my gratitude of the day, and if you want to join me on these gratitudes, you're more than welcome to. If you want to join me on the actions, you're more than welcome to. By the way, if you like what we're doing, if we like what we're talking about, I put the link up above or down below. I can't remember where it is, but I've got a video guide set up. So it's outstanding.video/guide. And if you want to get a reminder when we go live, go to outstanding.video/show, or you can type show in the comments. Okay, so for the action of the day, so today's action, and again, if you want to join me on this, you're more than welcome to. The action of the day for me is I'm going to be open to my feelings. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to be open to the idea that, when good things happen, when good feelings happen, that I'm going to want to share those feelings. I'm going to want to go and duplicate that through sharing, being open to experiencing new feelings. That allows me to celebrate those wins. It allows me to label it in a positive way, not just in a positive mindset about just trying to fake it till you make it. It's about being realistically positive, and being open to that. So when good things happen, I need to be able to go and share those things, celebrate the wins, and then in sharing that helps me celebrate it. Now, not all things are going to be positive. We know that. I know that. You know that. But what I do want to say is when other things happen that are not so good, when I'm in over my head, when I'm in a spot where things are challenging to the point where I'm not sure what to do, where I've got that sense of uncertainty, then I can appreciate that I've got a support system in place. I've got my family members, I've got my friends, I've got my support group, I've got the 12 steps, my higher power. There's quite a few different things that I can reach out to for help when I need it. And so being able to identify when things are good, and being able, remember, the things are good and when things are bad. So being able to identify the 50,000 other emotions in between, and being curious about how I can experience it in a different way, how I can label it in a way that's supportive and encouraging, but it's also constructive and real. That will help me appreciate that, yes, there is an orange, and yes, there is a thorn, and there is a rose, but it doesn't have to just be that same experience. I can help make it a new experience. Just like if I'm going to be positive that I'm broke, that doesn't help me change that I'm broke. I'm going to want to move into a call of action. You can just be one mindset, but if I'm only ever focused on just the negative, I'm never going to get out of that. So I challenge myself. The action of the day is to celebrate the wins when I come across them. But when I come across another opportunity where I can reach out for help, I'm brave enough that I can do that. And if you want to join me on that, you're more than welcome to. Thanks again for hanging out. I really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. You send me questions, you send me messages, leave comments down below. I love having all that interaction, and I want to take a minute and celebrate those wins because you matter to me. And I appreciate the level of connection, the bond that we have. If you guys have more questions, let me know. I'm going to be answering questions, and when we do go make that show about answering questions, I'm going to send out a notification to anybody who wants them. And again, if you want to get notified, type show in the comments, or you could go to outstanding.video/show, and then you'll get a notification, a Facebook reminder. If you want to check out more of these videos, go to outstanding.video/guide, and then I've got a little guide that I've walked through for you. If you want to check out the other videos, let me know. If you have more questions, again, reach out to me, say hello. I really appreciate you. Take care and have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.